Right. So I want to discuss the difference between self-deception, a specific form of self-deception, um, and the belief that seems to be also deceptive, but is actually helpful for making things happen. I believe that uh, at the moment seemingly contradicts the reason, so, or some of them, but still it's not deceptive. It is uh, enabling you to uh, push forward. And so um, self-deception is a strategy to uh, better deceive others and better lie to yourself. Because it's easier to lie to yourself when you believe it to be true. So um, uh, we can deceive ourselves when we want to uh, construct the desired reality for ourselves. And we either want to believe it and live as if it's real, or we want to manipulate the um, existing reality by believing in it. Um, so let me check something. Um, so wishful thinking is a projection that deviates from the reality, that it deviates in as much as uh, we intentionally fracture what we perceive. We intentionally uh, suppress our perception to believe what we want to instead what uh, we experience to be real. Uh, and deception is damaging because for the obvious reason that we uh, are in need of the accurate representation of the truth. We are dependent upon the uh, our comprehension of reality, and we live acting out what we fundamentally believe. So our actions follow our deepest beliefs, and um, because they do, because they do, we know that if we change our belief, if we manipulate or influence our beliefs, we can influence our actions, and then we can, by influencing our actions of the or the actions of other people, we can influence the reality. So if we influence either our comprehension of the reality, our beliefs, fundamental beliefs, because um, knowledge is too fundamentally a belief, right? And so when we know that affecting the belief, we can affect our actions, we also know it to be the case for other people. If we affect how what they know, what they believe to be true, their actions will change. And then there is the desired reality that we want to live by. And so we deceive or lie to achieve a desired uh, reality, a desired state. And by influencing and manipulating the comprehension of the truth. Uh, Either ours through the self-deception or other people's. Now, I want to talk specifically why and how deception um, is damaging at its core, and how deception and self-deception um, differ from the uh, belief that makes things happen, belief that is just there uh, to push us forward, even though it sometimes kind of um, does not always listens to the reasons, right? So let me explain. Um, I want to state first that there is a dependence that we have upon the uh, accurate representation of the reality. Um, if we don't know what is there, we can't adapt, we can't protect ourselves, we can't be efficiently oriented in life. We struggle and we suffer pointlessly and more than necessary when we are confused about the reality, right? Um, and now, nevertheless, uh, we face with many deceptions in life, and the deceptions, as we mentioned, that come from uh, people, and not only people, because animals deceive too, wanting to manipulate others to achieve some end, desired end. But there is danger to it, because first, why it's important to mention, because sometimes it seems that um, deception can not only be an advantage to you, but also that can be beneficial to and positive to other people as well. We can break the case that sometimes we lie and deceive out of politeness, right? Um, or we can bring up the political deceive and lies, and we can say that, well, we do that positively influence the relationships and bonds that we have. When we say to someone we like or love that you look great, uh, even though maybe we don't think so, we first of all not necessarily have a bad intention, but second of all we kind of do that to influence positive our um, bond, existing bond, right? So we do want to manipulate the reality, but we, kind of always do that in any case, and we sometimes want to do it positively. And so, why not to lie and why not to deceive? But there is this problem with the deceit is that um, is that it's dependent on a false narrative that deviates from the uh, reality, from the accurate representation of reality. Okay, and so you might say that um, I will bring a positive change with my deception. But the positive change would rely on inaccurate representation of reality. Now, because this seems like absolutely, I think, obvious, that's why people judge lying. I want to also kind of recognize that um, when we lie, the consequences of the lie don't necessarily um, are not necessarily obvious. We they are always there, uh, but they are not always conceived and understood and noticed until lies and deception accumulates and kind of becomes so catastrophic uh, that you know it's already kind of obvious. It comes to the surface. And why it does so? It does so because it is false in the first place. Because the truth manifests itself for the sake of its reality, right? And when and lies come to the surface because they deviate from what is actual from what is real. Now, um, sometimes truths can be uncomfortable, inconvenient, and even um, ugly, miserable, threatening to know them. Sometimes lies are far more comforting, and that's why you would have them in the first place, right? Uh, but no, uh, when so when we lie, we influence not the reality, we influence the comprehension of it, right? And we influence the behavior that is kind of based on its comprehension, the behavior of other people. But we don't directly influence the reality by deceiving and lying. You know, we manipulate it only indirectly, but by manipulating the actors. Uh, but the good question is here: what result do lies bring? Deception, and obviously, uh, we are when we rely on the truth, we rely on our perception, and we are dependent on truth as we are dependent on our perception to comprehend it. But lies and deception break and distorts the trust in your own perception. And there is it does so by suppressing your conscious awareness, and especially in the self-deception. When you deceive yourself, you have to suppress your perception, what you know to be real. Otherwise, you can't deceive yourself. And there is a good signal to understand if something, if you have the self, if you deceive yourself, right? If there is any dogmatic narrative that you have that you always feel the need to protect, and that you can't question, because your self-deception is uh, evident, becomes evident when you at least become aware that you um, interfere with your own inquiry, when you are blocking your search, your when you don't when you stop questioning, because you would do that to protect the narrative you want to believe in. Um, so um, deception deviates from the accurate representation of reality, upon which we are dependent, uh, upon which the efficiency of our orientation in life is dependent also. And when we deceive, we undermine this trust. And when we deceive ourselves, because we cannot perceiving deceiving ourselves if not refusing to trust in our own perception. Now let's talk about wishful thinking. And so um, wishful thinking can be deceptive strategy. It's an illusionary reality that you want to be the case, right? And it can be a form of self deception. Um, and the damage of wishful thinking can be the same as the danger of the lie and self deception. It is a suppression of your own perception, the suppression of your conscious comprehension of the truth. Um, uh, so when you're, let's say, when you're doing something and it doesn't work, um, you're dissatisfied with how things are going. You're dissatisfied with the reality. You can either acknowledge it, you can either acknowledge the and recognize the errors, the problems, or you can suppress this reflection and pretend that everything is all right. Right. And everything will be good. So you can try to deceive yourself that the reality just matches your picture of it. Or you can recognize everything you're satisfied with, everything you don't like about reality, and choose to make a difference and choose to believe that you can change it. Now, this is different from a wishful thinking, and this is different from self-deception, and I'll explain you why. It's different because first suppresses your perception and suppresses your um, conscious awareness of the of experience reality. Uh, while the second is actually um, take reflection at its value. It uses the conscious reflection as a feedback. But it actually is, because consciousness is um, your commentator. It's your personal um, free feedback, and because you know it's already well supported by studies and researches that um, conscious response is conscious unconscious response precedes conscious response. So kind of conscious response is post response to unconscious one. There was a study with the people throwing a ball, and the brain region responsible for the motor uh, activation um, for the motor activity has been activated 16th of a second earlier than the conscious intent to throw a ball. Uh, and there's and after that there's been a half a second delay for the consciousness to choose to proceed with an action or to stop it. So um, it's a well researched neuroscientific evidence actually that unconsciousness precedes consciousness, right? And conscious intent precedes a conscious understanding of it. Um, and even that, prefrontal cortex either receives um, later information, because the pathway to it is longer. So it's interesting, right? And um, unconsciousness precedes the consciousness, right? So consciousness delays, and it's our rationalized internal feedback to everything we do, and it's great feedback to use. And not to use it to suppress it is to deceive yourself. Um, so there are beliefs that we choose to have that are dependent on this suppression. For example, the beliefs in our performance, right? It's actually great to want to be efficient and capable in your performance, but it is not great to um, not be able to reflect on your performance and be honest with your actual um, results with your actual performance, uh, and not be, uh, you know, responsive to an internal feedback. Because internal feedback is your metacognition, it is your conscious comprehending. And what are you going to do? Who are you going to listen if not your own perception? You can't live by someone else's perception. So we need this feedback. And uh, the wishful thinking that refuses to listen to the inner critic or skeptic is a self-deceiving um, strategy that splits and undermines your comprehension, the accuracy of your comprehension of the reality, and is dangerous exactly because of it. Um, so this is the danger of wishful thinking when it's done proportionally to the suppression of uh, your perception, suppression of your metacognition, of your awareness, suppression of reflection of what you experience, and there are all kinds of reasons why you could do that. You could do that because you've been told to believe something. You been presented with an appealing ideology that um, is appealing for a reason, and so you want to believe it. And to proceed believing it, you have to reject your perception. But you have to recognize, um, or rather to say, it would be crucial for you to recognize that you can't do it no more because you can't live by someone else's perception. Because it's a self-deceiving to suppress it. It's self-deceiving to not be able to make this comparison of perceptions, which actually would uh, help you to move forward with your understanding, to comprehend more, to build a more accurate representation of reality. So we need these um, internal debates. We need these internal sage who would uh, give us the judgments which we would not suppress. I like to return to this example of the artist that who draws a painting, and there are all kinds of different uh, feedback that arises from your metacognition doing the commentating. Well, this looks awful. Well, I don't like it. It looks, terrible. It's not what I wanted it to be. And there could be several responses to this voice metacognition. There could be a response that, well, what is that? Uh, that's that's not true. Everything's great, and just stop thinking at all. So this is actually the process of suppressing your metacognition, your comprehension and perception. And so this would be a wishful thinking, a self-deceiving strategy. No, everything is all right, and I don't want to look at the contradicting evidence. Uh, Another approach to it would be, no, it looks exactly like I listen to you. I give it the go that, like, I give a go to this view that it looks terrible. Yes, it's possible. Yes, perhaps it looks exactly uh, as I think it does, right? But I'm not going to stop here, and it will look greater. It will be better. Um, And you can say that, well, but how do I know, if how do I know if it actually will look great, if the kind of my metacognition, if the evidence contradicts it, if the evidence tells the, how could I um, believe it would be great? Is it not self-deceiving also? And the thing is that uh, this belief is not self-deceiving if it enhances your perception and not suppresses it. It's self-deceiving in as much as it chooses not to grant the truth, to perceive truth, if it deviates from it. But if it recognizes the truth and chooses to work out, just to believe that, to have hope, this is not self-deception, because it's not the suppression. There is no false narrative yet. It's just a belief, it's a hope in the future outcome, which actually is powering for you, because it helps you to move forward. And um, this belief that makes things happen, that people who really wants to achieve great results and or are in the age need, because when you are striving for success, when you are striving for fashion, you will have to work on your errors. You will have to work on the um, things you don't like, but you have to recognize and identify them first, and then you also have to work to correct them. And so, you know this enhances your growth, and it helps it rather than um, uh, preventing it. And that's kind of faith and belief that we need to strive forward to, the one that uses our perception and enhances it to grow, not suppresses it. We don't need a wishful thinking that would suppress the comprehension of the truth and not recognize it. Um, uh, but which would recognize all the insufficiencies and errors in order to correct them. An artist who draws a painting and knows that he sucks, but tells himself that he sucks for now, because in the experience of his perception, when you train, you grow, you become stronger. When you continuously try, you learn. When you do, you notice your error, you can learn better from them. And so, coming out of this truth of the perception, one can say that yes, I'm going to believe that I make it, coming from my perception. So this actually an enhancing belief in your perception. It's not the suppressing belief. It's an enhancing belief. Um, and because it's actually fosters the trust in your perception and not contradicts to it. And this is a great growth strategy to become more sensitive to the reality, so to um, work with it better, and so to be oriented in it more efficiently. And now that has been have my thoughts on the wishful thinking and the um, phase that actually empowers you to grow. First is suppressing. The second is enhancing. First splits your agency because it undermines the trust in your perception, in your comprehension of the truth, while second enhances your perception by actually deepening the trust in it, um, in your experience, in your perception. So there is a danger to the first one, and uh, despite its comforting perhaps nature, still uh, it enables ignorance and um, prevents the growth.